Ever since Russell Wilson has became the starting quarterback, this offense have looked completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Averaging 30 points per game. Not saying that the offense is averaging 30 points. I don't care how the 30 points is getting on the board, but the team have now averaged 30 or more points with Russell Wilson in the lineup.
Yeah, money, 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 money. Ain't that funny? I got haters. Yeah, they watching, but I know they love me. Money, 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 money. Ain't that funny? I got haters. Yeah, they watching, but I know they love me. Riding around the city, plastic cup of C-Rock. Bigger and I'm blacker. I am on that Chris Rock.
Ladies and gents, welcome back once again. Yours truly, all things covered. Pat Peterson, P2, Bryant McFadden, right back at you with another entertaining show. There's so much to talk about. Pat P, how you doing? How you feeling, my guy?
I'm doing great, my guy. How about yourself?
Hey, Pat P, I know you say you feel good. I feel good as well. You see, I got the terrible towel going right now. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. There was a lot of games that we previewed last week, getting ready for this slate of NFL games starting Thursday, of course, Sunday, Monday night. But one of the bigger matchups on Sunday was the Pittsburgh Steelers, your former team, my former team, traveling to Washington, a highlighted game when you look at both teams really thriving, playing really, really good football. After watching that game for 4 quarters, Pat P, you walked away saying what?
This is a complete football team. Ever since Russell Wilson has became the starting quarterback, this offense have looked completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Averaging 30 points per game. Not saying that the offense is averaging 30 points. I don't care how the 30 points is getting on the board, but the team have now averaged 30 or more points with Russell Wilson in the lineup. We already
Mm-hmm.
know what the defense is going to be. We know the defense is going to be well coached, and we know they're going to be physical, and teams not going to really score as many points on them. Now that we're about to get in November, December football, where you're going to have to really lean upon that defense in that running game that they already have, and Russ's leadership ability carrying his team on throughout the rest of the season is unbelievable. So ever since Russ has been named the starter, this team has looked completely different, and I tip my hat off to Coach Tomlin for making this decision that
Yeah.
everybody questioned. So the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, they look like a very, very complete football team because we all know that they going to be well coached. We know they're going to be physical, and the missing piece for that team was a quarterback that was not afraid to push the ball down the field.
No question. I mean, that's the thing for Pittsburgh Steelers fans who've been cheering for this team for such a long time. This is something you've been wanting and fiending for. Quarterback play, stability at that position.
Hmm.
Defensively has always been there, right? Everything else has been there. You've been missing the most important ingredient, which has been great quarterback play. Even
Hmm.
serviceable quarterback play at a consistent pace is something that
Right.
we've all been wanting. Now you have it. So now you have to really like your chances. I know people are saying, well, they still don't view the Pittsburgh Steelers as a legit contender in the AFC. If you
How?
feel that way, you're wrong. And here's why. When you look at the start of the season, right? This is why I really like the Pittsburgh Steelers' chances to have a significant run. Number one, a good bill of health is always required.
Hmm.
That has to be the first requirement. But number two, in the beginning of the season, when everyone was kind of giving their predictions about divisional predictions, AFC, NFC predictions, in the AFC, when you look at the teams that were supposed to be legit go-getters, legit contenders, Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Miami,
Miami.
the Jets, Houston.
Even the Jaguars too. Remember, the
Even the
Jaguars getting
Jaguars
a
were
lot
kind
of
of,
love.
yeah, they were getting some love as well. Yes, correct. Great point, right? Look at the teams that have lived up to the billing thus far. Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo.
That's it.
And I know Houston, they're winning ball games, but they're not looking as dominant as we thought they would look, right? Injuries and whatever the case may be, offensive line play hasn't really been there, but they're not looking as dominant like we thought they would look based on their success from a year ago.
Hmm.
So when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, when you look at the AFC, because when you talk about being a legit contender and trying to have a significant run, you got to look at what's going on in your conference, right? Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo, they're taking care of their business. Cincinnati, they ain't living up to the billing. Cleveland, their season is disco dead. So they're an afterthought. But I'm just throwing their name in because they were supposed to be a contender. Miami, they're still fighting for dear life. They're holding on. Holding on. The Jets, their season is disco dead as well. In Houston, they're there. So for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the seat that was supposed to be taken up is available because some of the other teams are not doing what they're supposed to do, was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you have to really be excited about what you're seeing. To your point, offense is relevant. They got a post. They're consistent. They got a quarterback. Everything else has already been in place defensively, running the game, and they're getting healthier. So let's see exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers have in store. But I tell you this much, and we're going to talk about this game. It's a big one this Sunday, Jack.
Yes,
This is a
indeed.
big one this Sunday. We're going to
Baltimore
talk about
Ravens,
it in the show.
black and blue.
No question. You better believe it, boy. Hey, this is what you pull out your big boy pads. Make sure you do some extra neck exercises the week of, because it's going to be an old school AFC North matchup. Man, ain't going to be no tricking or treating. It's going to be running down the teeth of your defense. Let's see, can you stop me for 4 quarters? Other highlighted games from this past Sunday, Pat P, I love to hit on. Denver traveled to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
It's safe to say Denver outplayed Kansas City.
Yeah, it's very safe to say that.
Kansas City won that ball game, if you don't know, 16-14 by a blocked field goal. Denver, a makeable field goal attempt to end the game, to win the game. Kansas City keeps finding ways to win ball games, Pat P. What do you take on the Chiefs?
That's what champions do. That is exactly what champions do, man. They find ways to win regardless what the situation is. And that's something that we hit on early on in the season too. That is what make, the Kansas City Chiefs so dangerous. They have won in every scenario. They won close games. They won, blowout games. They've won games in overtime, regardless if they got the ball first or not. When they needed a blocked field goal, if the kicker needed to kick a 61-yarder to win the game, it doesn't matter how they need to win the game. They have done it, or they're going to do it. And that comes back to their coaching, Andy Reid, putting this team in throughout scenarios, throughout spring training, mini camp, OTAs, training camp. Those are when you're getting those moments. So you can tell that these guys have worked on it because they're never surprised when they're in these situations. So shout out to Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs for just always finding a way to win ball games, regardless what form or fashion it needs to be won in.
Hey, man, they continue to amaze all of us, bro, because it's like, how? And I say this all the time in terms of talking about Kansas City, Pat P. Kansas City, they display 2 football traits every week. Either great flashes or good flashes. In both cases, it's good enough to win.
Yep.
Good teams, they display 2 traits. Good flashes or bad flashes?
Bad flashes, yeah.
Yes. And when you look at good teams, you're like, how did they lose to a team? Prime example, Atlanta,
Losing
New Orleans
to the
last
Saints.
week.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference. That's the difference. The difference right there. They're good. Atlanta's a good team, but they're not a great team.
Yeah.
And there lies where you see the good flashes or the bad flashes. A bad flash surfaced in New Orleans, they lost. But Kansas City, when they're playing at the bare minimum good football, which is a good flash, it's still good enough to win.
Yeah.
It's still good enough to win. So I'm asking you this question. I know we still have a few games I want to recap. Do you still believe the Detroit Lions is the best team in the National Football League right now?
Yeah. Yep. Because they can win, and they can win anyway as well. They showed you flashes as well. Have they not? At this year, have they not have shown? They have not shown you a bad flash. And if it was a bad flash, they still won the game.
You're right. You right. But I will always go back to this. And
I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
Unfortunately for us, these 2 teams won't play in the regular season. But I will always go back to the pedigree.
I know what
the Kansas City Chiefs have.
Yeah.
That right there, you can't coach, you can't prepare for. When things get tight, when it gets critical, when your hands start to sweat and you get a little nervous, they don't blink.
They don't.
You know how Coach Tomlin used to say, man, I want players who don't blink, who don't mind running into that fire.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs, they run into that fire. And get this. This is the thing I love about the Chiefs. And I'm not saying you're totally wrong for saying Detroit is the best team, because to your point, they are playing the best football, even though they barely won this past Sunday. The way they've been winning ball games have been more dominant
Right.
than the Chiefs. But think about this, though, Pat P. How many teams could do what the Chiefs have done without wide receiver one, without wide receiver two, without running back one, RB1, and Isaiah Pacheco? Think about that. Think about how many key components they're missing on the offensive side, and they're still winning. Put Detroit in that same scenario. You don't have Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jamison Williams or either David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs. Think about how much more difficult their winning opportunities could be. So to your point, I get what you're saying. All I'm saying is, if they were to face off tomorrow, and you know if they were to face off tomorrow, Pat P, you know who would be the favorites?
The
Detroit.
Chiefs.
No,
You think Detroit be favorite?
I think so.
Okay.
Yep. And you know what happens when anytime the Chiefs are an underdog, anytime Pat Mahomes is an underdog, you know exactly what happened. You remember early in
I
the
do.
year, I think the Chiefs were an underdog against San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
But heck, you know they were an underdog in the Super Bowl against San Francisco.
Yeah.
Anytime they're underdog, my boy, you know what's happening.
Patty Mahomes bring the dub home.
But we have to wait and see how it plays out. But right now, those two teams are the two best teams in the National Football League. In the
Yeah.
order you put them, that's your personal preference. Another game we got to highlight, we got to talk about. Unfortunately for the Dallas Cowboys, it's time to get ready for the 2025 draft, Pat P.
Yep.
A team that had playoff aspirations for sure. Team that has been accustomed to winning double-digit wins. A team that has been accustomed to being one of the more talked about teams in the National Football League because of their success, regular season success. There's nothing to really talk about anymore with the Dallas Cowboys, because what we saw this past Sunday at home was a total letdown. We knew it was going to be difficult without Dak Prescott, but it was a bit embarrassing this past Sunday against the divisional foe in the Philadelphia Eagles. Philly won that ball game 34-6. What were your thoughts about seeing that matchup?
Exactly what I thought it would be. And
Yeah.
they're already a bad football team. They haven't shown any fight, no life when Dak was the quarterback. I don't know what Cooper Rush was going to do any differently. He can't play defense because the defense is still atrocious. We don't have a number two receiver to throw the ball to anyone. That was evident because he was 13 to 23 for 45, 47 yards,
He didn't even
which
have
is
100 yards throwing.
which I can go out there and play quarterback and throw as many yards as that. But yeah, it was the outcome that I thought it would be. So I'm not surprised. You should not be surprised. America should not be surprised. And like you said, they're getting ready for the draft next year. So hopefully they can they probably will get a top 5 pick, and hopefully Jerry Jones can get his wishes. I know they're not going to get a quarterback, but hopefully he can get his wishes on getting a new head coach and Deion Sanders. So I know that name has been thrown around a lot, but he's going to have to get a head coach in there that don't mind taking his shenanigans at the end of the day. Yeah, Jerry Jones, we know who you are. We know you are the head figure of this football team. But if you're hiring me as a head coach, let me run the football team. Like, you can run the operations and things like that, but let me control the football team. Like, you can give me whoever you want on the team, but let me control the team. I just think he has so much attention on him, and it really drains. I don't know, drains out the players, but I just feel like he's just too in front of the camera too much, man. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to ever change,
No,
because
it's not
that's
going
who
to
he
happen.
is.
I mean, that's never going to change. But
That's why
I
the
just feel like that's a
Cowboys.
downfall to them, in my opinion.
Yeah, but that's why the Cowboys are one of the more lucrative organizations in our country professionally, because of the attention. Now, you
Right.
brought up something about getting ready for 2025, the draft, the roster. It's clear to see that Mike McCarthy won't be the head coach in 2025. You brought up primetime Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, right?
Mhm.
And that name has really been getting some traction with the Cowboys. Granted, there's still a lot of NFL ball left to be played. Heck,
Yeah.
he still has a lot of collegiate ball left to be played there at his current with his current team in Colorado. But you already know how people get ready for the next thing, the next year, and I know that is garnishing some attention. Should the Cowboys consider bringing in Coach Prime? Now, you gave your sentiments about how you feel. For our viewers that are watching us, thank you for watching us once again. Let us know how you feel. And I know some people are saying, no, that doesn't make sense. He's not deserving of having that opportunity. He's not deserving of being considerate. There lies the lie. It does make sense, and he is deserving of having that opportunity. You know why, Pat P? You know why, viewers? Because we've seen individuals with a short sample size get an opportunity to be a head coach in the National Football League. We've seen it. Most recently, let's go with, I give you two cases, right? Matt Rule, when he
Mhm.
became the head coach for the Carolina Panthers, where did he come from?
College,
College ball,
Temple.
right? Now, granted, he coached college football longer than what Deion has done, especially in Power 5 play. Currently, it's Power 4. But Matt Rule came from Temple, went to Baylor, coached at Baylor a few years, got a shot to go to the National Football League for the Carolina Panthers, right? And last time I checked, it's almost like the same trajectory for Deion. Deion was at Jackson State, revitalized that program like Matt Rule did at Temple, went to Colorado, and we're currently watching magic before our eyes.
Yep.
Revitalized that program similar to what Matt Rule did at Baylor. But Matt Rule became a head coach. Most people accepted it. Heck, he got $60 million. They paid him
Yeah.
$60 million fresh out. And it wasn't like Baylor was a national powerhouse, a contender. Yeah, they became successful, but it wasn't like they were competing for championships. Heck, right now, Colorado's competing for a playoff spot. And last time I checked, if you get in the playoffs, you legit competing for a championship.
Yeah.
I'll give you another
100%.
case for you, Pat P. And this is going to hit home for your viewers. Like, you forgot about this. For all you people that saying, no, he ain't deserving. He ain't done enough. Well, Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury. Texas Tech. Texas Tech became your head coach, Pat P.
Did. Yeah, he was. He
He
was.
became your head coach. Yeah. While you go ahead and get yourself together, I gotta give up some more information because a wise man told me once again, never argue if you don't have facts, if you don't have
Yep.
numbers to back up your argument, right? So if you're telling me that Cliff Kingsbury, now granted, it didn't really work out like that in AZ. You saw it firsthand, but guess what? He got an opportunity.
Yep.
He got an opportunity. And you're not telling me. Now, Matt Rule was more successful in the collegiate ranks than Cliff Kingsbury.
Hmm.
Cliff Kingsbury, I'm pulling up his collegiate coaching career right now. When you talk about what he did as a head coach, he was his. Well, let me pull it up right now for you because I know a lot of people are saying, "No, man, Deion don't deserve no opportunity and all that." What? All right. So Cliff Kingsbury was at Texas Tech. He coached longer at Texas Tech than what Deion is doing at Colorado.
Hmm.
His overall record was 45, 35, and 40.
Mm.
Right? In conference play, he was 19 and 35. So he was below 500. Now,
Hmm.
mind you, his first year was his best year. He was 8 and 5 his first year at Texas Tech. The last 3 years, he was below 500. 5 and 7, 6 and 7, 5 and 7. And correct me if I'm wrong, during one of those losing stints, didn't he coach Pat Mahomes?
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes was on that team, right? Let me see. Pat Mahomes. I want to make sure I get my facts, my numbers together. Now, hold on, Pat P. Pat
Yeah.
Mahomes was drafted.
He had Pat Mahomes.
He had Pat Mahomes. So he lost with Pat Mahomes in
Yeah.
college?
Hmm.
How is that even possible?
It's possible. Pat
It is.
Mahomes, he wasn't Patty Mahomes yet.
He was. He went first round.
He still wasn't Patty Mahomes yet, though. He ain't the Patty Mahomes that we
Man,
see
listen,
today.
man.
We saw flashes of it in college, but he's a total different player now.
So Pat Mahomes was drafted. I want to just make sure he was drafted in 2017. So he was drafted in 2017. So Cliff Kingsbury
Yeah,
did
he had
coach
all three. He had Pat Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and Kyler Murray.
because Baker transferred. Now
Yeah,
Kyler was at A&M. Kyler
but
was
I'm
at
saying he
A&M.
coached all three of those quarterbacks, though. Is what I'm saying, right? Oh no,
No,
no, no. I'm sorry. He did not coach Kyler Murray. He coached Caleb Williams. That's who it was.
yeah, he coached Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Caleb.
so 2017, he got drafted in 2017. So 2016, he went 5-7 with Pat Mahomes. Dang. But he got a head coaching job.
Yeah.
So y'all can miss me with that Dion ain't deserving of having that opportunity. If Cliff Kingsbury were deserving of getting an opportunity, why not Deion Sanders? Now, it ain't my decision to hire him or to give him an interview. I'm just speaking out on the folks that saying Deion should not be deserving of getting that shot. Hey, Joe Judge became the head coach for the New England Patriots.
He was a special team coach, wasn't
Yes. And I
he? Yeah.
think he was only special team coach for maybe the main man, maybe a year or so. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man. There are a lot of coaches that getting opportunities. They ain't got no business getting no opportunity. So what we seen from Dion is he brought life to a program that was in the ground 6 feet deep.
Yeah, you know the thing about that though too, Matt. You always you're talking about how people are not deserving, but also people have to understand it's all about timing too. Because when Matt Rule got got picked up, they was in the midst. They wanted the offensive help. They thought Matt Rule was an offensive guru, so they took a chance. Cliff Kingsbury, they hired him because he came from the college level. Coach quarterbacks that had similar styles as Kyler Murray. So they thought
Yep.
that would be a good. I don't know where the hell that Joe Judge hire come from, but it's all about at the end of the day, it's all about timing, man. It really is. So you can't
Yes, man.
be like,
Like,
oh, this person is not deserving or that person is not deserving. It just comes down to timing, and if an organization feel like this is the perfect timing for that change that we're looking for, and this is the person that we believe that's going to give us that, they're going to give that guy an opportunity.
yes. And I'll say this, Pat P. You know about this just as well as I do. When you're the head coach of a national football team in the NFL, you have to be able to lead men. That is the
Right.
most important trait you have to
100%.
have. I know
100%.
X's and O's are important. I know that. But can you lead men?
Right.
Can you do that year in and year out? Can they buy into what you're selling? Will they respect you for them to follow your lead? That's why Coach Harbaugh is doing a masterful job with the Chargers because he can lead men.
100%.
Yeah, so that's what owners in this interviewing process, when you talking to these people and you hiring these guys, I understand we're going to talk X's and O's. But I want to know what your leadership qualities are like. Because if
Right.
you can't lead men, you're going to lose the locker room. Dennis Allen
100%.
lost the locker room in New Orleans, got fired. You know, when you look at other jobs that have really diminished when it came to reaching the level of success, they lost the locker room. Josh McDaniels, a year ago at the Raiders, lost the locker room. You got to have men that can keep the locker room intact. That's
100%.
important. That's important. So me personally, I'm just saying, we don't know if this is actually going to continue to be a story or not. But for the people that are saying, no, he's not prime, is not deserving of even being considered for the Dallas Cowboys as the head coach, you're a lie. He is deserving. And I just gave
Yeah.
you reasons why, because we've seen it before. But just because it's prime, you're saying he ain't deserving. Well, Cliff Kingsbury got it. Showed that he couldn't do it as a head coach, but he got it. Matt Rule, same thing. So why not? We have some exciting news for all of our listeners, all of our viewers, all of our fans. We have an exclusive discount code with Home Field Apparel, one of the best apparel companies in the world. At checkout, if you enter in your promo code COVERED, COVERED, in the checkout promo code, you will get 15% off. which is a very, very exclusive discount coming from yours truly, All Things Covered. In other news in the National Football League, another team. This is a team that needs a head coach. They might as well call Coach Prime as well. The Jets. The Jets, Pat P. The Jets, man, listen. Played against our former team in the Arizona Cardinals. 31-6.
Got embarrassed.
Robert Saleh wasn't the problem.
Didn't I say that? The fire was way too soon, man. He was not the problem.
Robert Saleh wasn't the problem.
No, man.
Devontae Adams wasn't the answer.
Nope.
You said it, though. You said it weeks ago. When it happened, he ain't the problem, and you spoke on it. Where do they go? The trade deadline is gone. You can't make any more additions via trade. Like, you are who you are right now.
Yeah, you are who you are.
What has been the most disappointing thing for you watching the Jets, Pat P?
Just how unorganized they look. Look like they haven't practiced the whole week.
You said some
just false starts at the yin yang, missing blocking assignments. Defensive backs don't want to tackle. Quarterbacks talking about people running the wrong route. It's nothing good coming out of wherever they're located. Jet 1 Street, wherever their facility is located. It's just nothing good is coming out of there. And I just saw a stat. They are worse in the first 10 games with Aaron Rodgers than they was with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's pathetic.
Zach Wilson was the problem. They were better last year in the first 10 games with Zach Wilson than they are now. And that team last year did not have the same talent they got. What'd you say?
Right. In back-to-back years, it was better with Zach Wilson throughout the first 10 games.
Pat, you when you talk about not being prepared, that right there is something you don't see in the National Football League.
Come on, man.
A team that doesn't look like they're prepared. You would have thought it was a short week for them.
Right. Right. And then not only that, it looked like it's been a short week for the last 4 weeks. What they look like out there on offense. The only promise that they had was whatever game, who they beat, Houston?
The Thursday night before. So they had extra time to prepare for the Cardinals.
Exactly. But that's the only glimpse of hope that the Jets had was that night. And moving forward, these guys are planning for Cancun, getting ready for the trips in Dubai, Egypt, wherever they end of the year trips are. That's where they're going. Aaron Rodgers is about to go to the retreat of darkness or whatever cave he go to in the off season. That's where they're heading at right now. And the season's not even over with, but the guys are packing that suitcase. They're packing suitcases, getting the U-Hauls ready. It's like, baby, we out of here January 3rd. That's January 7th, the last game of the season. We out of here next day after our exit meetings. Where we going?
Pat, it's discouraging to watch. And Pat, you know me, being a former player, I never question someone's toughness. I would never do that. But Pat, that defense, I don't know if they don't want to tackle or they just don't work on tackling. It's just like the effort to get someone down. Like at some point in time, you know how most defenses, right? They got a guy on the defensive side who's a tone setter. Like when you come out a little flat, they're going to run into somebody, get everybody going. Just boom. I'm just running into somebody for no reason. I ain't got no problem. I'm just hitting somebody. Let's go. Tone setter. We had that in Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure you had that. You play with guys like Adrian Wilson, Darnell Dockett. Tone setters. Like, man, y'all boys flat. I'm going to just fire on somebody for no reason. Right. Boy, it's time to go. Let me buckle up. Let me protect myself. Right?
They got one, but they just not following the young Williams. But they just not following them. Yeah, they just not following them, man.
I think they done messed. Quentin Williams feel like I think he emotionally tapped out as well right now.
He is.
It ain't everybody they play run through them on their defense, run on the defense, run through the defense. It don't matter. Kyler Murray did whatever he wanted to do. When you look at Kyler Murray getting the football to his pass catches, they weren't tackling them. It's like, where do you go from here, Jets? So it's about pride at this moment. You can't continue to let someone just run through you week in and week out. It's about pride. But one thing I'll say, and you said it, Robert Saleh wasn't the problem.
Hey, also too, I'm gonna ask you this question: Where does the pride need to come from if the head coach is not giving it to him, to the team?
Leadership, the leaders, Pat. And right now, I don't know if they got leaders because you know how it is. Think about this. We talked about this when they first brought in Devontae after losing to Pittsburgh. Devontae was the one who was speaking amongst the team.
Right.
He just got there. He don't really know about the stripes and the wear and tear we done been through. He just got here. So when I heard that, and even if you want to allow him to speak because of his veteran presence in the National Football League, his superstar status, we respect that. But right now, no, bro, we let the guys who done been here try to get this thing together.
Yeah.
So to your point, you gotta at some point in time, the leaders who've been a part of this league for quite some time, they got to get everybody together. Heck, you know what? Have a night where you get as many of the guys over as possible to somebody who got the biggest crib on the team, right? And say, man, let's all come together, man. We're going to order some food. We're going to talk. We got to figure out what we're going to do.
Man, people don't do that no more, man. This team's too young. No, people ain't doing that no more, Matt.
They don't get together no more?
Mm-mm.
Vent?
No.
You know, have some good food and cry and vent. Everybody vent on each
People
other.
too
And,
sensitive, man. People too sensitive, man.
play cards and just fraternize.
Yeah.
That's the problem, Pat P.
Yeah, people want to play video games and
No, we got to come together.
yeah, they
If I
want to
was
work
a
on
head coach, I
their
mandate that.
passion,
No,
trying to see
we
what they wearing on Sunday and things like that. So that's more important to them.
no.
Yeah, that too. So
Yeah, they got, but no, we got to get the guys together, bro. Figure out what the freak going on. Like, look, come on, bro. Like,
yeah,
you know how I be on sometimes in the game, Pat. When you see a dude screwing up, you really don't want to get on right there because it's still a game. Like, God dang, man, them boys tripping, man. What the freak y'all doing?
right.
Why y'all? And I know the D line be looking back because Hamp used to do it to us all the time when in Pittsburgh. But when somebody break a long run in the secondary, we ain't making no tackle. Boy, look back. Man, y'all tripping today, huh? Man, come on, man. Boy, be like, Hamp, don't start that today now. You worry about what you got to do.
You know we had a guy like that too. You know what I hit him with? He
What?
shouldn't even be back here.
Why he all the way back here? Why we got to make the tackle all the time? We got
Exactly.
2 levels to get through, and y'all ain't doing what y'all doing. Y'all mad at us because we ain't getting them down.
Right.
So, yeah. Man, listen, man. Hey, but the Jets, man, and that's the thing about Dallas Cowboy fans. Y'all could be the New York Jets. I trust more in the Cowboys than the Jets right now, Pat.
Yeah, sad to say. Yeah,
Sad
yeah.
to say,
Me too.
boy. That's
Me too.
that's a tough lifestyle. Last game we're gonna recap from this weekend NFL schedule. Sunday night football in H-Town. Number one, you like them red uniforms and red helmets that the Texans wore?
Yes, sir. Thing was
That's
clean.
clean. That's clean. No
That
question.
chrome helmet. Oh
Yes,
man,
sir.
that thing was that light was hitting off them helmets a little different, boy.
Ooh, like that candy paint on the
Yes,
on the
sir.
old school.
Yes,
That's what
sir.
that candy paint on that helmet. Love
Yeah,
the helmet.
man.
Uniforms are outstanding. Didn't love the results by the Texans. Detroit, your favorite team, Pat's favorite team right now, the best team. I'm sorry, Pat's best team in that.
That's my favorite team.
Your best team. I'm sorry.
Yes, there you go.
Your
Reword
best
that.
team, 26-23. Pat P, what, when you watched that game, you walked away thinking what?
Man, Houston got to find ways to finish games and come out of halftime better, man, because they had everything rolling in the first half. I mean, everything rolling. The running game, the passing game. They was finally protecting my boy C.J. Stroud for once. And you came out of the second half, it just all went down the drain because the defense was playing lights out the entire game. Besides that last drive, well, not even besides that last drive to help the drive that helped get Detroit into field goal range. The defense played lights out, having 5 interceptions, 3 sacks. Like that is winning football. Now the offense job is to go out there and close the game, and that they didn't. So I walked away from that game saying, man, just Houston, as we talked about early on in the show, about one of those teams that should have a seat at the table. They're right there, but they're not as dominant as we thought they would be going into the season. So I was very, very worried. I'm starting to get worried about Houston not able to protect C.J. Stroud and also not able to finish games on the offensive side of the ball thus far throughout this season.
You said a mouthful. Anytime a defense gets 5 interceptions and a few sacks, you're supposed to win.
Yeah.
Point
By a
blank.
large margin, by the way.
Yes, you're supposed to win. And I'll say this: Detroit won that ball game, but it was more about what Houston did not do.
Exactly. Hmm.
Like you at home, primetime stage, new uniforms, shiny new helmets. You fired up. Defense showed up. You got to figure out how to win this ball game. And I'm gonna tell you the defining play for me with Houston losing in the red area in the second half, deep over by Tank Dell.
The one you
CJ
dropped?
Stroud put
Yeah,
too much ball underneath the ball.
yes.
Carlton
Yes.
Davis came a long
Big
way.
time.
Great pick. That right there is what really paved the way for the Lions to win, because worst case scenario for Houston, you're in field goal range.
Right.
Worst case. Because remember, Pat, Houston did not score 1 point in the second half.
They did not.
22 points were scored in the first half.
Yep.
You look at the final score, 26-23. If
Hmm.
you score that touchdown, you have the clock on your side, and now you put the Detroit Lions in a pressing situation
Right.
because the game's in the second half. And Tank was wide open. He just lobbed it. He did not anticipate Carlton Davis coming from where he came from to make that play. So you talked about 5 interceptions that Houston's defense created. The 2 interceptions that the Lions defense created were
Okay.
massive.
Yeah.
All by the same guy, Carlton Davis.
Yep.
Facts. So for Houston, to your point, and we both agree, they haven't looked as dominant as we thought they would look, but they're still in a good spot because their division is not.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to win the division.
Yeah, they win the division. You get a home playoff game, anything can happen. But let's keep it real. They haven't looked as dominant as we thought they would look, but they're still in a good spot. But games like that, Pat P, we got to win.
Got to.
We got to win. And other headlines before we get to our preview of the NFL games this week, we give our picks. Other headlines I definitely want to hit on with you. One of the more highly, in terms of expectations, this is a team that had nice expectations, even with a rookie quarterback. The Chicago Bears made news today, fired offensive coordinator who was in year one with the organization, and Shane Waldron. The Bears are currently sitting at 4-5. It was an upset last Sunday, losing to the Patriots at home. You're not supposed to lose that ball game, and they lost. They got dominated.
They did.
So
They
something
did.
needed to happen. A change needed to happen. What we're seeing now, Shane Waldron is no longer calling plays. How disappointed are you in what you've seen from the Chicago Bears so far, Pat P? And was it the right move in firing the OC, you think?
I think it was the right move just because we haven't seen any growth. Well, I take that back. We did see growth from Caleb, probably from like week 4 to like week 7. We had like that 7
Yeah,
touchdown.
he had like 3 games where he was really,
Yeah, and you saw some growth in there. But what I think happened is this team is still dwelling on the loss against the Washington Commanders. Like you just like they're not playing with the same passion and energy that they played with after that up until that game. So this team is still thinking about the coaching decision or the timeouts that wasn't called or the big play that happened or the Johnson being bitch, him walking out of practice. It's just so much that compiled up into this whole situation.
Tyreek Stevenson.
I'm sorry, Stevenson. Maybe that is still on the team's mind. So I just feel like this team is immature and living in the past when they have an opportunity to fix the problem. Yep. This team is just continuing to live in the past, and it just shows that they're immature, and this team is showing that they're immature, focusing on things that's behind them versus worrying about how they can get better moving forward.
Hey, you said it. And I said this the night of when they lost that game to the Commanders. That same night, I said for the Chicago Bears, two things will happen. Either they rally and use that horrible defeat to jumpstart a quality positive streak of momentum, winning games,
and it's
or their
crumbling.
season will crumble. It's crumbling. And you know why it's crumbling? Because the head man in charge ain't leading like how he's supposed to. You know, Pat, anytime you have a devastating loss, right, where your emotions are all tied, a devastating loss, especially in the National Football League, you have to have a motivator that can get you ready to run through a wall the next week. You have to. And moments where you lose a game in the National Football League, games that you're supposed to win, they hurt more. They feel like 2 losses.
Yeah.
Because you had it in your hand. It was there. You're not supposed to lose because of a Hail Mary. Hail Marys don't work.
Right.
That's why they're called Hail Mary. You're sending a prayer. You're praying. You're hoping and wanting and wishing. It's the likelihood of those plays being successful not likely. So for the Bears, I keep saying the Bears, but they're both in the same neighborhood, disappointing. But for the Bears, leadership has to get the guys together. Number one thing I didn't like, for me personally, I don't know how it feels for you, being a fan of the game and being in the media, I didn't like Matt Eberflus not owning where he dropped the ball. Because as a head coach, when you own when you drop the ball,
no doubt about
we respect that as players. We respect that, bruh. Guess who owned when they dropped the ball? Tyreek Stevenson. I don't know if they told him to apologize or not, but he apologized on record for all of us to see and said, I should have been better. I shouldn't have been disengaged. I shouldn't have been taunting the fans. I should have been ready to go with my guys. I let the guys down. We respect that. But you know who else should have owned it? When he was asked, Matt Eberflus was asked about the play call and allowing them to get the out route before the Hail Mary attempt. Oh, no, it was the right thing to do. No, it was not. Because if it was the right thing to do, if you were in that same scenario, you would not call the same defensive plays. Because if it's the right thing to do, if you had the same situation, you know what? We're going to run the same thing. You won't. You won't, because you know it wasn't the right thing to do. Own it. You don't have to go into detail about what you should have done and how it should have went. You should have said, you know what? It's my job to put the guys in better positions to be successful. I did not do that. Now, guess what you got? You got the locker room once again. Coach, we appreciate that, Coach. We appreciate that. Because Tyreek Stevenson, the player, he did it. Coaches are held to a higher guard than players. So that's why the locker room is gone. So now you talked about what's going on. You fired Shane Waldron. What do we expect? You ain't got the locker room no more. Coach,
he's next.
You got to find a way to get it. Facts. Yeah. Now for him, he had to make a move because it's so bad. You got to try to do something. But to your point, no question. This is a playoff roster. I know they're dealing with injuries, but this team is too good to be this bad and to lose to a team like the Patriots. So until I will continue to reiterate this to our viewers, your head coach has to be a leader of men. We respect those guys. Right now, I ain't saying that the players don't respect Matt Eberflus, but he ain't got the locker room.
Yes.
It's gone. And when the locker room is gone, your season
it's another team.
Gone.
It's another team that's going to be playing for Cancun after this week if they lose again. They playing up. Yeah, so they lose this week. They'll be playing. They'll be with the Cowboys and the Saints and Jets, Carolina.
Jets.
Yep.
Yeah. But hey, man, we'll see. Chicago Bears fans, let us know how you feel. Well, we just talking from the viewpoint that you all have as well, the same viewpoint. But we just giving you our personal experience from when we've been in that foxhole hunting and trying to find our way out when it gets tough. But right now, Matt Eberflus, is up to you. I like your t-shirt. I like the brim you're rocking, man. Shouts out to Home Field Apparel. Once again, listen, when it comes to the latest collegiate gear, repping almost every university that is out there, Home Field Apparel is the place to go. Make sure you hit covered to get 15% off. The promo code, as I repeat, is covered to get 15% off. Our gifts to you guys for rocking with us. Here we go. Pat, people, before we go, our weekly picks. It was ugly for us. It was ugly. With the spread, me and Pat P had the same identical record with the spread last week without picks. We were 2-5 with the spread. A lot of things happened that wasn't supposed to happen. If you guys partake in legal gambling, you probably felt our sad war pains as well, because a lot of things happened that wasn't supposed to happen. Now, without the spread, just straight up, Pat P was 6-1, 5-2, but we only document and keep for records our record with the spreads, right?
Who we got?
Now, Thursday night football starting off, right? Washington traveling to Philly. The Eagles are giving the Commanders, my bad, 3.5.
They're giving the Commanders
Where you
3.5. Philly giving 3.5. This is Philly's first playoff opponent that they have going to play since the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, since early in the year.
They playing in Washington. I'm gonna go with the young fella. Oh, they playing in Philly.
Oh,
I'm
they're playing in Philly.
I'm gonna go with Jaden.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Jalen.
I'm going Jalen. I'm going Hurts. Are you going Hurts as well?
You going Jalen? Yeah, I'm going Jaden. Yeah, I'm going Jaden.
I'm going the Eagles.
Okay.
I'm flying the Eagles, baby. I'm flying with the Eagles. All right, next game. 1 o'clock Sunday. Acura Stadium, Allegheny County. The Ravens traveling to Pittsburgh. They're giving the Steelers 3.5 points. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. I'm Pittsburgh down as well. Next game. This is an intriguing matchup, Pat P. Both teams, big losses last week, trying to get back in the winning track. Atlanta traveling to Denver. Not to Mile High Stadium, but they're traveling to Denver. You know, it used to be Mile High Stadium. They tore that down. The Broncos are giving Atlanta 2 points.
The Broncos giving Atlanta 2 points. I'm going to take the Broncos. And you said
I'm taking
Baltimore's
Denver
giving
as well.
Pittsburgh 3.5 or just 3?
I'm taking Denver.
All right. And Denver is giving Atlanta 2. All right. I like Denver.
2. Yep. I like Denver as well. All right, next game we have, this might be the best game this Sunday. Kansas City traveling to Buffalo. Buffalo is giving Kansas City 2.5.
I like Mahomes.
Oh, now you learning now. I see that. You learning now.
Last year when you said that, when we was in the Super Bowl, I never could go. I did.
Yeah, you argue me down. You argue me up and down. Mac, I don't care nothing about what I know. I say, Pat, anytime that man getting points, do not bet against him.
I did.
And you bet against him too.
They
find you in the alley bleeding, like they say on life.
You taking KC too?
Bleeding. You said what?
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You know I'm not with money Pat Mahomes. I just wish they were playing Detroit right now. Ooh, I get a whole bucket of water from you. Ooh. We're going to wait it out. We're going to see. All right.
Who we got?
Next game. This is another good one too. Cincinnati traveling out west to L.A. They got the Chargers, right? So the Chargers are giving Cincinnati 1.5.
I'm going to take the Chargers. Go ahead and take Cincinnati. Yeah, I know you want Cincinnati.
You take the Chargers. I'm going opposite direction. I'm taking Chase. Chase, man.
Yep.
The bank gonna be open on Sunday. You better do it. So we got one, two. That's 5, open, right?
But he might have insufficient funds.
You know what? Let's throw this one in here too as well.
Yep.
I got another one for you. All right. The Browns traveling to New Orleans. New Orleans is giving the Browns
Me too.
1 point. I'm taking Cleveland. All right. Take Cleveland. There you have it. The bank gonna be open. Chase gonna be open on Sunday. I gotta go ahead and create this gap of separation between me and your picks right here. It starts this week.
What up, baby?
Pat P.
What up?
Oh, before I let you go.
What you mean with that? What's going on with LSU? What's going on at FSU? You brought it up.
It's a call. We already established that. No. We already established this. We're in the midst of a COVID year. This doesn't really count. You guys,
and y'all just got blown out again last week.
Just say,
Y'all did. Y'all
we
fired
ain't get
y'all
blown out by
defense
Duke.
coordinator, offensive coordinator, and a receivers coach.
And
You brought it
that ain't
up.
what I asked you,
You
Pat.
brought
I
it
just
up.
asked you what
You
happened with
should
LSU. That's all. I
see
ain't no
if your
problems. I didn't
team
want no
is bad
smoke.
as somebody else's team, we should not even talk about college football. I
I
just
just, you right. I'm gonna do like Red did on Friday. I'm gonna tuck my chain in, man. I'm gonna go ahead and be quiet. You right. I ain't got nothing to say. I just wanted to know what was going
yeah,
on.
we
Cause I'm
got
rooting for
we
the
we got
Tigers,
our
but
nose banged
I
in.
can't.
It was ugly. It wasn't pretty, but hey
Yeah,
man, I tell you what, man, I ain't even gonna say what I want to say. I ain't gonna say it.
what you
I
want to
ain't
say?
gonna do it.
Well, Pat P, great conversation. I hope our viewers definitely enjoyed it. If you have any input, hit us in the comment section. Let's see exactly what these picks gonna look like starting off Thursday night. Big time matchup, divisional matchup, NFC East. Hey, Washington traveling to Philly, take on the Eagles. Let's see how it
Peace.
play out. See you when I see you, Pat P.
Yeah, money, 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 money. Ain't that funny? I got haters. Yeah, they watching, but I know they love me. Money, 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 money. Ain't that funny? I got haters. Yeah, they watching, but I know they love me. Riding around the city, plastic cup of C-Rock. Bigger and I'm blacker. I am on that Chris Rock.